Good evening, Spencer Johnston, Planning and Operations Trainee. We'll go ahead and kind of lay out how we're set up organizationally, our strategy for the incident, where we're at with that strategy, and an update on what the fire has been doing over the course of the last few days and the recent changes today with an increase in fire activity. So with that, we'll get started. Up here in Branch 1, each one of these branch or division I refer to represents an individual overhead capacity that's providing oversight operationally, logistically for the resources on the ground. So in Branch 1 we have Division Alpha, Division Bravo, Division Delta, and Division Echo on the north end here. Out here in Branch 3 we have Division India, Kilo, Division Lima, and Division Mike. On the south end here in Branch 5 we have Division Sierra, Whiskey, and Zulu. Our strategy for this incident is point protection, confine, and contain, meaning we're not right here around the fire. The reason we're not there is due to the terrain, the fuels that we're working in, fuel specifically, some of the heavy timber in there, standing dead of about 50% with the lodgepole pine, so very much a hazard for our folks working on the ground. And then the fire behavior when we first took the incident over was active to extreme, to say the least. So with that, our confine and contain strategy puts us out here, and I'll speak to that. Out in Alpha Bravo, this piece of line in here along the 108 road or Silver Creek, all of that line has been completed with feller buncher operations. We're cleaning that up with chippers, cleaning that up, which provides us a line for any fire progression that wants to move out to the northwest. This is our catcher's mitt or trap, if you will. Out here in Division Alpha, just to cover this area, it's really remote, as you folks probably know. We know any fire movement out here wouldn't affect much as it moves towards the wilderness area. We have structure protection in place. I believe that's Castle Creek, around the Castle Creek values in there. And any fire movement out here, and based on modeling, has to fight against terrain, the predominant weather. So that's our strategy out here, is more of a monitor confine strategy. Moving north in Division Delta, all this piece of line from Panther Creek up to the Salt Fire. This is a Salt Fire in 2011. All that line's been complete. It's a combination of dozer line, hand line, road being improved. That whole section of line has been plumbed, and we're ready for any potential burnout operations in there to keep any fire movement working to the north and getting into the Panther Creek drainage and affecting any of the values we have in there. All the structure protection is in place for these in holdings in Panther Creek. Division Echo and India up on the north end, they're scouting out contingency lines. In the event this doesn't hold for us or this doesn't hold, which I'll speak to in a minute, we're looking out here. Those plans have been kind of tabled at the time being, given the recent weather we've seen. The fire area has received spotty rain, to say at the least. It's wet. It's been wetter over here, but a little bit of less rain on this side, maybe due to the ridge right here in between. So the activity over here, I'm going to bounce back. It's been creeping, slowly backing. It's very much low fire activity on that side, but as it continues to dry out, winds pick up, we could see a pickup of fire activity over here, which we would be implementing our burnout operations over here. Moving over into Branch 3 in Division India and Kilo, we have all line completed right along through this area, extending from the VOR site on Lake Mountain down into Lake Creek, right at that in holding, and then we got line constructed to the south end of Williams Lake, tying it in just above the structures in there. That gives us a catcher's mitt right in this area in the event the fire makes a push out to the northeast here. We are assessing the potential of constructing line. I'm trying to orientate here from this point where we've completed line down into the Twin Peaks Ranch area. Once we have that in place, you can see that kind of gives us a nice catcher's mitt for any fire growth out here. Speaking of that, today, as things continue to dry out, right in here, south of the main fork of Iron Creek, about 200 to 300 acres of growth. So you can tell we've received a little rain, but we know the fields are extremely dry, and it didn't take long for those fields to dry out and the fire activity to pick up. In the event this continues to move to tomorrow, it's in perfect alignment for that fire to push and make a pretty strong push up the North Fork of Iron Creek. Tomorrow's weather is predicted borderline red flag warning, where red flag warning is a fire weather watch for folks on the ground, folks managing the incident for the potential of increased fire activity and large fire growth. Jumping back to Twin Peaks Ranch here, from this point all the way down to Hat Creek is a point protection strategy. We have point protection or structure protection in place around Twin Peaks, Iron Creek, Cabin Creek, and down into Hat Creek here. The reason it's a point protection strategy is due to the terrain in there. It's really broken. It makes it really difficult for us to construct dozer line and tie it in with hand line to get us a line, as you see over here or over here, all the way down through here. So we're going to allow the fire to punch out to where that transition of fuels from timber out to the sage and grass transitions in there, which allows us an opportunity to catch that fire. Fire activity in the timber is much more higher intensity. As it gets into those lighter fuels, it allows us a chance to pick that up effectively with ground resources and aircraft and be able to successfully protect the values at risk in there. Moving down on the south end into Branch 5 in Division Sierra, Whiskey and Zulu. All this line from Hat Creek into Morgan Creek is complete, allowing us the opportunity to catch any southeasterly fire spread out in this area and be in position to burn that piece of line out. Over in Division Zulu, it allowed us the opportunity to go direct. We went direct from Morgan Creek in here all the way up to Woods Peak and tying in with the Van Horn fire from 2007. End of shift tomorrow, this whole piece of line will be complete and in place, allowing us our anchor point to continue managing the incident. Trying to think what else I might want to mention. Oh, I do have one thing. So, Custer, Lemhi County border, somewhere right in here, evacuation-wise, level 1 south, moving north into Lemhi County from this point just south of Williams Lake, level 2 evacuation notice, and that's west of the Salmon River. North of Williams Lake, level 1 evacuation notice. We also, it doesn't show on this map, but if you drew a box roughly about like this, that's our initial attack area of responsibility. For any new fire start in that area, we're responsible for the management of that incident, working with the local agency administrators. We have IA capability to be able to staff and take action on those ignitions if they do occur. I think I'll leave it right there and turn it over. Thank you.
All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Tony DeMasters. I'm the Incident Commander here with Great Basin Team 2, working here obviously with the Rabbit Foot Fire. First, I'd just like to say that with the Incident Management Team, we've had great working relationships with the Forest Service, the BLM, and Idaho Department of Lands. And so those three agencies is who the Incident Management Team is working for. And so we've had some real great success and great working relationships with those three different agencies. What I'd like to do now is just talk about the three different objectives that we have that we're working on the incident. First and foremost is the firefighter and public safety, okay, and that's one that ties right into the strategy of confining and containing with the point source protection up and down Highway 93, up and down Panther Creek, down Silver Creek, and the bottom end down and around Morgan Creek. So that's one of our primary objectives that goes along with firefighter and public safety that ties right into that strategic objective. Now the second objective is that we really want to protect exactly that, the infrastructure of the private within holdings and the property in and around the fire footprint. There's approximately about 1,450 homes or infrastructures that we've identified, and so we have done all the assessments that we need to on those properties. And so we have approximately 70 different sprinkler kits that we have placed out. And so each sprinkler kit comes with a water source that's either coming out of a creek or a folded tank, a big container that holds water, or we've protected bridges and things of this nature that may have, may cause, if the fire gets close, that the fire may impact those bridges and stuff. So we've wrapped them in a fire blanket, tent type looking material that reflects the heat and protects those infrastructures there. Then the third objective is that in and around this fire footprint is that we got a lot of habitat. With one, sage grouse, we got the big game wintering range between deer and elk. Okay, we also have the fisheries up and down Panther Creek in here, in which, you know, so those are part of the objectives working with the fire that we also too want to protect, okay? As Spencer was alluding to, that the confine and contain that we have here is that we only have 5% contained, if you will, on the fire footprint itself. That's right down here at the bottom. And the reason for that is exactly what Spencer said. The fire is very inaccessible. There's hardly very little roads. It's very steep, it's very rocky, and lots of snags. So it doesn't allow that opportunity to get right in and around the fire's footprint to go direct, because we don't want to cause injury, harm, or potential, you know, serious damage to our firefighters. So that allows us to come out here with the point source protection, confine and contain where opportunities allows itself. So if you will, we have this thing in a headlock only, but it's at a greater scale out here where the purple is. This is where we've had all of our indirect lines built, and we're ready for that fire to come to us, so that way we're fighting this fire on our terms. So that way we're allowing this fire to, like Spencer was talking about, coming out of the timber and the grass and sage. So we're fighting fire on our terms. As this thing starts to move north, if it gets very active, we'll have a trigger point somewhere in here that we'll start fighting fire with fire off of this indirect line here. If the fire wants to move to the northwest or to the west, we have those catcher's mitts built. So that way as the fire comes to us, we're fighting fire on our terms.